Recording in progress.
What up, family? What's good? Welcome to another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. I'm your boy Trey Frazier. I got my brother Maestro Styles here with me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Shout out to all of the Facebook Live viewers right now. Make sure y'all continue to follow us on the Facebook page. Click that like button. And also you can follow us on the YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And follow us on social media on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. And also on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. My brother, what's popping?
What's happening, man? Hey, I'm woke now. We screaming free Brittany Griner till she come home, bruh.
Hashtag free Brittany Griner. I feel a little bit guilty.
Man, I feel bad.
It's something that we definitely, as Black content creators, we should have been more responsible in hashtagging that. Like, even if it's not, every hour on the hour, like every day. You know what I mean? Like that I felt irresponsible on my part for that, because we've done a lot of hashtags for several different things in the past on a daily basis, and this one certainly deserved hashtag Brittany Griner every day. But I'm happy that they determined that her being jailed in Russia was a wrongful thing to do. So at this point, for me, bring her home, man. I'm ready to see Brittany Griner back here, because it makes no sense whatsoever that she's been over there far too long, and I'm happy that this thing is finally coming to an end, coming to a close.
Well, and it ain't to the end till she home.
Well, like I said, that it's coming to one, and hopefully it gets there. What's good, man? How you feeling?
Cooling, man. Ready to talk some sports.
Yeah, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. But that draft last week, bro, I ain't give two damns about the draft when it was coming on, man. There were 3 game 6s on that night, bro. I was more focused in on that than the NFL draft. How about you?
Yeah. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I was like locked in. I definitely was not locked in. But I wasn't like, if I'm being even more honest, I watch most of my sports on mute because I'm doing, you know what I'm saying,
you multitasking,
you know what I'm saying,
doing some stuff.
I'm normally doing other shit. And the extent of my analysis a lot of time be listening to Twitter fingers. So, you know what I'm saying, but a lot of sports to talk about, man, for sure.
Yeah, definitely a lot. I'll start with the draft because I did care a little bit about it, maybe about 10 minutes of the draft. So for me, I was concerned about 2 things for me. Number 1, what the Ravens were going to do at number 14, and number 2, where was Malik Willis going to be drafted? And there had been a lot of speculation about Pittsburgh being the place. I know people talked about those first, 4 or 5 picks. I guess Carolina had an early round pick. Atlanta had an early round pick. Seattle had an early round pick. Those are teams that you can make the case that they need quarterback, So I was certainly intrigued by that part. So let me start here with let me start with my team, the Ravens here. And sometimes the fan base be bugging. That's why sometimes I gotta turn off the noise, because the energy just ain't good for me. But
yeah, you got too many. You follow a lot of Ravens fans.
I do, and most of the time, bruh, it's complaining about the front office, the way they do things, as if for the last 15, 20 years they haven't been doing this the same exact way. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do you expect to change? You know what I'm saying? I get Eric DaCosta is been in this position for 3 years, but he worked under Ozzy for all these years. So I don't
Right.
expect a lot of things to change. Now he did take a lot of swings with the wide receiver position, so I respect that particular different approach with Eric DaCosta. But this year, they decided that it was time to trade Hollywood Brown. Now, the backstory to that is, and this was earlier in the offseason, he had a talk with the front office and said, hey, look, this offense just isn't for me. I'd like to go play someplace else. And they kept it quiet, kept it on the hush hush, and they worked something out to the point where Hollywood Brown was already hanging out in Arizona with the Cardinals and the Cardinals brass,
Mm-hmm.
during their, live whatever they was, had on going on over there. So
Hey, do you think that that conversation that he had with the team about this team ain't for me? Do you think that happened around the same time he was threatening to retire as and become a gamer?
and to become a gamer. So I did think about that particular situation, and I thought it may have something to do with it. I thought that maybe he was just on his way out, and really he could just retire, right? Like he could just, instead of asking for the trade, he could just be like, look, I don't want to play football no more, and then he could just
Mm-hmm.
retire right there on the spot. But
Right.
um, I came to that conclusion that that wasn't the case. Otherwise, he would just quit football. Um,
Or maybe, not to cut you off, or
mhm.
maybe he was just saying something flagrant for like a pity party.
Right. Now, if you remember the tweet he put out a year and a half ago, where he was like, "Look, how you gonna have some soldiers if you ain't gonna use them?" You remember that tweet, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then Harbaugh kind of had to put it on the hush hush a little bit. So yeah, this goes back. I think it goes back even further than this past season. And this was his best season. 1,000 yards receiving. This was his best season, by far. But he decided that the offense just wasn't for him, and him and the front office had a talk, and they said, okay, we're gonna ship you over to the other conference, and they got a first round pick for him. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what you pay your front office to do. Get proper
Yeah.
compensation for your guy. Because let's face it, this is the last year of his contract, and I couldn't see a scenario where they were gonna re-sign him to big money. And think about the market
Right.
we're in terms of wide
Yeah.
receivers. You know what I'm saying? You're not
Yeah.
paying Hollywood Brown $25 million a year. So, um,
Yeah, but I mean, I agree that you're not paying him that because that's top receiver money.
yeah,
But 15.
sure, but I don't think we were gonna be. I think we would have offered him 15, but I think somebody else was gonna probably offer him 20. So I
Mm.
think they knew we're not gonna be able to outbid these other teams for Hollywood Brown. So they said, instead of waiting till we don't get nothing for him, let's get something for him now. And I think it made perfect sense. Now, getting to the, you want to say something about Hollywood?
No, I'm just going. I mean, yeah. I mean, I agree that he didn't want to be there, and I think getting a first round for him is. I mean, look, man. Ain't no way to slice it for his production in what 3 4 years.
3 years.
I
Yep.
think first. I think y'all hit a lick in the first round. I think he was more of a second round pick type of guy. As far as compensation.
Right.
So to get a first round for her, yeah, y'all hit a lick.
Yeah. Yeah. Facts. Facts. So I was gonna talk about who we picked, but I do want to talk about the Cardinal side of the trade, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of implications that are happening. And if you got the news maybe yesterday, DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for
Mm-hmm.
6 games for use of PEDs. So
Yep.
it sounds like the Cardinals knew this was coming down the pike, and combine that with
Right.
the absence of Christian Kirk, Who knows what they're gonna do with AJ Green? I don't know what his status is. I don't know if he's still on the team. I don't know what his contract
As of right now,
situation
he's still
is.
on the team. Yeah, as of right
He's
now.
on the
But
team. Okay, so basically, AJ Green, who's not the old AJ Green, would have been, your best receiver on the team. So I think them getting Hollywood Brown, combined with knowing what was coming down with DeAndre Hopkins, it made perfect sense for them to make this move. Now, how's he going to flourish in this offense? I think he'll do okay, man. I really think he'll do okay with this. Kyler Murray's got something to prove. I think this might be the year where,
teammates, let's not forget that.
sure, teammates also, and DeAndre Hopkins is coming back week 7, so
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like he's gone for the season or anything like that. So he'll get his numbers. Hollywood, I think, has a chance to be a good, solid number 2 in
Number
Arizona.
2. Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
really think that. So you
That's
got
a
any?
good 1-2 punch. Yeah, I agree. It's a good 1-2 punch.
Mm,
And he'll have a good opportunity games 1 through 6 to kind of let people know, like, okay, I'm something you got to look out for.
mm-hmm.
So you're not going to be able to just double DeAndre Hopkins because over here you see what I did as the
Yep.
number one, even temporarily. They still got Ertz at tight end. Like they
Right.
got. They
Forgot
got a
about
good
that.
offense. AJ Green is the third. That's
Mm-hmm.
not. I mean, we don't need him to be AJ Green of old to succeed at the third. You would think
Yep.
at the third receiver. You would think so. They look like they're gonna be all right offensively, just like much like they were for most, at least for most of the season last year.
Right. And who's the running back again? They didn't
I
re-sign
don't know
Chase
who
Edmonds,
the
right?
run because Chase Edmonds is in Miami. I don't know who the
Right.
running back is. That matter of fact, I don't know.
Connor isn't Connor?
James Conner's still there, yeah,
He's still there.
but he was never really the like guy though. He split carries with
Right. That's right.
Edmonds. You know what I'm
That's
saying? So
right.
I don't know who that guy is.
That's right. He just scored a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was definitely the second, like more of a secondary back.
Yeah. So getting to the pick for the Ravens at number 14. So we went with Kyle Hamilton, the safety, and I think immediately for me, not that I had a problem with the pick, but the question for me came about, okay, how's this going to work? Because we just signed Marcus Williams, another safety in free agency, and we still got Chuck Clark, and we got Deshaun Elliott still on the roster. So I'm just curious as to how that is going
Now
to
that
work.
sounds like it to me. It's depth.
It's yeah, it's definitely a depth situation. I think that's the obvious thing, but I think there's something a little bit deeper than that. I think they're gonna try to convert one of these safeties into a nickel corner. It appears because Tavon Young is not there no more. We let Tavon Young go as the slot corner. So it's really Peters when he gets back. It's Humphrey when he comes back. Those are going to be our two main corners, and then you just got the four safeties there. And it appears to me, I could be wrong about this, but it appears to me that they're going to convert one of those safeties into a slot corner.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you would know better than I would. I don't give a
And,
fuck.
and
I'm
I'll
happy
be
I
fine
lose
with
every
that.
game.
I would be fine with that. The fan base, obviously, I think their main concern is how do we replace Hollywood Brown? And for me, I think the answer is simple. Jarvis Landry is still out there. Go get him. That's the answer for me, because at 14, I mean, there really wasn't a viable option at the receiver position. If you remember, I think six receivers go before number 14, or am I getting that number inflated?
Something like that. I know it was a run where like 3 wide receivers had went in a row. Like Bama's was trading up to get wide receivers.
Right, right.
So I know that happened, but I don't know. Look, I don't know as far as first round wide receiver talent. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to jump the gun on the Steelers situation, but I know George Mickens was considered a first round talent,
Mm-hmm.
but had some
He
some
fell,
on
right?
off field issues. Or he fell to the second round.
Mm-hmm.
We got him essentially, but
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but and to twist the knife a little bit, I heard rumors that you guys were behind us in the second round, and that y'all were looking to draft George Mickens, but we
Mm.
got him before you. And I'm not now. Obviously, I don't watch a whole bunch of college football, so I wasn't super familiar with George Mickens.
Right.
But all you seeing on Twitter, you seeing videos of him throwing corners around throwing corners around,
Yeah. Stiff arming
grabbing corners
niggas.
by the
Yeah.
right. Like he looked like he a dog.
Mm-hmm.
So to twist the knife a little bit. We took a wide receiver that you guys really wanted. It seems.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware about the Pickens thing in the second round. Like I said, I was focused on game sixes in the NBA
Well, and that was
that
even
night.
so. That was second round anyway. So that was more so stuff I'm seeing on Twitter.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, yeah, and yeah, that was really day two. Not for that matter too. That
yeah,
was day
right,
two of the
right,
draft.
right,
That wasn't Thursday night. So yeah, you make a point
right.
there. I kind of tuned out after the first night. I just kind of let the draft, play itself out, and then I'll just see who we got. And yeah, we ended up not taking no receivers in the draft. Again, I'm good with that. But it's clear that Rashad Bateman is our number one receiver. So Ravens fans, you have that there. That's fine by me. Um,
Does that make you confident for a few reasons? One,
yep,
and I know y'all seen flashes of Bateman, so you feel like he's capable.
yep.
But here we go again with this Lamar Jackson contract thing, and I get. I mean, if y'all gonna say it's not a big deal, I let y'all say that. Cool. Um, if he the it's the weapons for me. There is no weapons. It's like you got. I get Dobbins to be back, and Mark Andrews is there.
And Gus, yep.
You got a decent offensive line, but when it comes to stretching the field, I mean, you kind of in the same boat that you've been in.
Well, I'm not worried about that. Bateman can do those things. Bateman can stretch the field, and if we need him to play the slot, he can play the slot. His catch radius is off the charts to me. Some of the games that I've watched him this past season, I mean, his hands he's got one of the better hands secretly in the league. In my view. In terms of who that guy's gonna be after Bateman, you're basically talking about Devin Duvernay, who's our punt kick return specialist, who barely gets any burn on offense. I know he's been on offense a few times, but you're looking at him as the number two for right now. But this is what the Ravens do. They go through the draft, and if there's a void at receiver, they're gonna sign one of these vets. I mean, I could bet the house that they're gonna sign one of these veteran receivers that's still out there. And like I mentioned before, Jarvis Landry is a guy that I would love to have on the Ravens. He's only 29 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So that's really good. Like you could get 4 or 5 years out of Jarvis Landry if you really wanted to. So hopefully they find a way to or come to their senses that you're gonna have to replace Hollywood Brown. That I agree with. I don't think he can go into the season saying Duvernay is your number two. I just don't think he could do that. But you got him out there. I don't know about Odell Beckham. Like that situation is out there, and I know the Rams will have him back, and he's got the what's that? What I forgot what he hurt in the Super Bowl, but he's got that going on too.
Was it the other ATL?
Yeah, it was. Yep, the
Yeah.
other ACL. So I don't know if the Ravens are gonna really take a chance on Odell Beckham, but one of these guys are gonna get cut. When it comes to training camp, preseason, some of these guys will get cut, and this is when the Ravens head to Walmart for the clearance section. This is what they do with that position. So
Yeah.
it should be no surprise, and quite frankly, to all to all the Flock Nation, y'all shouldn't be surprised at this. This is what they do. This is what they do. We've won Super Bowls off of this, so the beat goes on. I'm good with it.
Super Bowls, this guy says, with an S.
Yeah, we've won Super Bowls. Yes.
Okay.
Is that a lie?
No.
Did I lie? Did I lie?
No, it's interesting that you make it seem like they won the Super Bowls because they got wide receivers off the clearance rack.
Oh no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
Okay.
we've won Super Bowls, so we're doing something. We're doing something right, even if it means that the wide receiver position is not the sole reason why.
I think your strengths overlap your weakness, but I think as a football team, you would want to address your weakness. And the fact of the matter is that since Steve Smith, y'all haven't had a dominant number one receiver, and that should be an issue.
No, that
should be an issue.
I agree with that. No question about it. But we'll see. It's so funny how Hollywood took some of this criticism, early on when he was with us, and now that he's gone, everybody all of a sudden, oh my God, like y'all traded Hollywood Brown, like da da da, like what did y'all expect?
Well, I thought it was a great move. He clearly didn't want to be there. He clearly wasn't producing the way they thought he would produce being there. Mm-hmm. Like I thought it was a great move.
We got a number one pick
for me.
We got number one pick.
Yeah, I thought it was a great move. For that reason as well. But I mean, but just on principle, he didn't really want to be there. They didn't really want him to be there.
Right. And we weren't going to lose him for nothing. We weren't going to lose him for nothing either.
Right.
So
at least it would be dumb to. So there you go.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's young. So it would make sense to not get some type of a compensation for him. Like I said, if you had got a second rounder for him, I'd have been like, okay, that's a good move.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Y'all definitely hit a lick with that. So it wasn't me. My conversation has always been, I don't believe that Marquise Brown is going to be a number one receiver. So
sure, no matter where he is.
Yeah, right. So that's always been my conversation. So we'll there you go.
Yeah.
He probably not going to be one in Arizona either.
So I thought, getting to Malik Willis, so I thought that I was certain Pittsburgh was going to be the place. They wined and dined him. There were stories out there. Tomlin met him, and it appeared that there was some kind of, I don't want to say love fest with Malik Willis, but there were certainly some ties in the offseason to him. Right. I mean, but to the point where you taking them out to dinner and stuff. So
I think they take all them peoples out to dinner, bro. I'm with you, and by the way, I'm with you. I'm not saying that to disagree with you. I get that the narrative was spun that he was the favorite. From the way they talked about it in the press conference after the draft, Kevin Colbert and Tomlin. They were courting him, but it seemed like they always knew that Kenny Pickett above him. That's what it's. If you listen to them talk, they always had Kenny Pickett above them, and everything that the media was spending, the dinners and going to see his pro day, was all just media talk.
Right.
The way they and everything you saw was them doing their regular due diligence that they would do for any first round pick, considering if they were trying to get obviously they're looking for a quarterback this year.
Yeah.
So that's the due diligence that they would do for every quarterback. They would imply that they did the same thing for the Cincinnati quarterback, the same thing for Kenny Pickett, the same thing for Matt Corral. They would tell you that they did the same thing for all the top flight quarterbacks.
Right. So,
but Kenny Pickett was always the guy in their book.
So, you personally, before this pick, who did you want if it had to come down to those two guys?
At quarterback? Well, if can I just, if I'm being honest, I didn't want to. Nah, because I wanted to answer your question, but I'd be lying to you. I didn't want a quarterback in the first round.
Okay.
The conversations that I've read or watched all seemed to speak that quarterback wasn't a strong in the draft. What they weren't strong in the draft this year.
Yeah.
So we got a stopgap guy on the bench already. That you know what I'm saying. We can build around that dude because we paid so cheap for him. We could build around him,
Mm-hmm.
and even if he doesn't, work out, which we don't think he's going to anyways, a stopgap,
Yeah.
we could eventually draft a quarterback into an offense that's already set up. All he got to do is come in and ball. And so my thing was, I wanted defense. I wanted the guy from Georgia, even though he was taken, before they
Early.
got to us.
Yeah.
Um, but somebody on defense, I would have loved the guy to corner. I get that people say there wasn't a whole bunch of corners that were first round talent, so I get that. But I didn't really care for getting a quarterback. I think we could have went somewhere else.
Okay.
Offensive line. While we've made moves, I would have loved to just seen us get somebody first round caliber talent
Right.
on the offensive line. I would have loved that.
Okay.
So they pick Kenny Pickett and cool. All right. I just know that offensive line better be right. Cause that's my issue. My issue right now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not willing to. And again, you got me in objective football mode until about August. Right now, I don't want to hear nothing about
Go ahead and be
what we can
subjective.
do and yeah,
Go ahead and be
how we going to
subjective all year
compete,
long.
how we're going to compete. Yeah, right. I'm never going to. I'm going to be totally unobjective by August, but until we get offensive line together,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like, I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't care. Like I believe this team is going to work how the offensive line works. We get the running game going, get the defensive players the rest and type of things they need, so when they got to go on the field, they can do what they do because the defense is still a good defense.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'd have been fine, but for me, this all plays on the offensive line. Um, and if we don't got that together, hopes aren't high.
Well, oh, that's Natalie calling me here. Um, yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, and you mentioned in regards to the weaknesses and stuff. Um, yeah, it appears that neither one of our teams addressed the particular respective weakness. But I was surprised that they went with Pickett when the Steelers was up to pick a number whatever that was.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised though.
I was surprised at that. Well,
They got a
not.
history of picking up pit players.
Oh, do they? Okay. That
James
that I
Conner's
didn't pick
from
up
Pitt.
on.
Yeah, James Conner's from Pitt. If I'm not mistaken, now I know Cam didn't go to Pitt,
Mm-hmm.
but I believe he's from the area. Like they
Right.
got a
Right.
history of like they was talking about picking up Pat McAfee a couple years ago
Mm-hmm.
before he got booming in media. Like they was talking about picking him up again. Like they like Pittsburgh people.
That means I somehow missed out on Aaron Donald.
Well, I mean, he was
Ain't
like
he a
number
pick
one.
guy?
Yeah, but he was like number one in the draft that year, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was number one, but he was definitely high in
He
the
was there.
draft.
Yeah, I must say, Mike Tomlin. There's a quote that Mike Tomlin said to Chase Young a couple of years ago, and he said to Chase Young, "Man, we don't ever want to draft guys like because that means we had a losing season.
Mm.
So you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't have never got Aaron Donald unless we had
Sure.
a losing season.
Yeah,
And
you move up. You
last
move
time
up.
that checked. Oh yeah, but we don't. I mean,
But
how
y'all don't.
often can we
Historically,
do
y'all don't
that?
do that. Historically, y'all don't do
Yeah,
that.
about to
So
say. And the last time we did it, it seemed to blew up in our face with Devin Bush because now we're not even picking up his option.
yeah, I saw that. Not surprised
Yeah,
by that
so
though. Not surprised by
not
that.
surprised at all. I'm just saying that that's the last time we traded up to get somebody, and that's what happened.
Right. Right. So let's talk about the Titans. Because
Yep.
that team's got some stuff going on too. So obviously, Malik Willis ended up getting picked by the Titans in the second round. He had to wait a full
Yep.
day for that.
Mhm.
And you know what, man? I said it after they lost the playoff game against Cincinnati. They at some point they need to address the quarterback because Ryan Tannehill, while he's put up some good stats since he's been over there, he's just not the guy to get that team over the hump, right? So basically, this is what Joe Flacco went through, a few years ago. this is what Ryan Tannehill is about to go through. It's either look, you gonna step your play up, or this kid's gonna come in and we not gonna look back. So,
Mm-hmm.
so that's kind of how I see that situation playing out. That was a good pick for the Titans. I fully agree that that was a move that they should have made because they certainly need to address that moving forward. You can't lose. You can't go to an AFC Championship game one year and then you back that up with back to back home losses in the playoffs, one and dones. You know what I'm saying? Two division titles, home playoff games, and you can't win either one. Like you can't back that up with that. So yeah, I'm good with that.
I don't know that it's a good or bad move yet. I think that it's cool that they got a quarterback. They need to put some fire under Tannehill ass
Yep.
clearly,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why I agree with them getting a quarterback. And I mean, but if they would have got Matt Corral, I would have felt the same way. If they'd have got Desmond Ritter, I'd have felt the same way.
Yep.
If they'd have got Pickett, I'd have felt the same way. Like they need somebody to like put a fire up on his ass. And not to mention, if I'm not mistaken, he signed a 3-year extension, and that's about to be up.
Mm-hmm.
So they in a situation where they could cut ties with Tannehill as soon as
The
next
next
year.
off season, yeah.
Yeah, so there's that. I will say this though, they are not putting him in a position. Matt Corral, I mean not Matt, Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis, they're not putting him in a position to succeed because they traded their fucking best receiver.
Yep. Yep. That came out of left field, and I know that AJ Brown had requested that he be paid like
He be paid,
some of the
yeah.
top guys, and I agree
Uh
with
huh.
him that
And I
I think
agree with
he's
him
one of those
100%.
guys. So
And he got the money he's supposed to get.
4 years, $25 million. No, 4 years,
Yeah,
$100 million. So twenty
$100
five
million,
million a year.
dollars,
Yep,
57 guaranteed.
yep. Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles.
Go get the money. Go get the
Yeah.
money, and that leads me to who I thought had the best draft this year, the Philadelphia Eagles. This, now you got Jalen Hurts some weapons now. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, um, Goddard is there. The Miles Sanders is a pretty good running back. The offense is better than it was before AJ Brown got there for Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go as far as to say they are my early prediction to win the NFC East. I'll go
And they
that far.
got stuff from Georgia, by the way.
Right. Exactly.
The defensive lineman, yeah.
Yep. Jordan Davis, I think, is his name.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. Yeah, Jordan Davis.
So yeah, they went in the East, bro. Like that, I'm a cold stone to that right now.
Yeah.
But I
I mean, that's not bad. Yeah, I might agree with you this year.
mm-hmm.
I might agree with you this year. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, Dallas, yeah.
Dallas,
I might
yeah,
agree with you this year.
and a lot of
I
a
might
lot
agree
of
with you.
Cowboy fans on my timeline. They not happy with the draft,
With
bro.
that offensive lineman, yeah.
Yeah, they not happy. So and you lose
It's
Amari Cooper
funny
in the process.
because Yeah, it's funny because normally there's a lot of conversation at my job about drafts, and who did what.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the conversation the day before the first day, like Thursday afternoon. But Friday morning, nobody had nothing to say. Like, Commanders fans wanted to talk about that wide receiver they drafted, who's a good wide receiver, by the way.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted to talk about that offensive lineman that Dallas drafted, and we don't have no Eagles fans, so it was quite quiet in my shop Friday morning.
Mm.
At least the talk wasn't football; it was more
Right.
talking about Future coming out. So, I mean, if that's any indication, it looks like the Eagles did at least win in the NFC East.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I heard a lot of people talking about the Giants having a good draft too, though. Now, I'm not
Yeah,
super familiar with how
Thibodeau.
they did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Thibodeau going to New York, and people, to all my New York people, cut it out with the we got two Thibodeaus in New York. I get it. Just cut it out. The kid, that kid's enthusiasm, I think, is gonna fit right well with that team, and that team needs some of that too. So I don't know if they're gonna be any much better this year. This will make or break it year for Daniel Jones, but I like the pick for the Giants. and the
Yeah,
Jets for that matter too. I thought the Jets had a pretty good
they had a good draft.
showing too. Yeah, yeah. They got a little bit of promise. They just got to stay out their own way. You got
Good
anything
luck with
else
that.
with the draft?
I sure as hell don't.
Like I said, I didn't care about that draft that night, man.
Outside of, I'm excited about George Pickens and that other, and we got another guy. I'm forgetting his name. Another wide receiver who looking like. I'm excited about our offensive line is together. That's all I'll say.
And you said if the offensive line is together.
If the offensive line is together, I'm excited about our offense.
If there's a off-season move left to be made, like during training camp, preseason, you think they'll address that in one of those areas or around that time?
Well, here's the thing. The only reason I'm speaking about the offensive line is because the last time I saw them, they weren't good. But we've addressed the offensive line. I'm not saying they haven't addressed it. They brought in James Daniels. Um, they brought in the cat from the Vikings who's Mason Cole, who's supposed to be, we don't know what
Right.
he's going to be really.
Yeah.
You know, so they've addressed it. Some guys come back healthy. That's another thing to note. So we've addressed it. It's just I don't know until I see it.
Right. Right. All right. All right. Yeah, that's a bet. That's a bet. I'm ready to talk NBA playoffs, man.
We can go.
Yeah. 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 Let me start with Minnesota here, and I know we're in the second round already, and all the teams that's out is out, but they being Minnesota, they basically gave away three playoff wins in this series
Yep.
against Memphis. I mean, you can
Yep.
make you can make the real argument that they outplayed the Grizzlies for more than 50% of the series. It's just that Ja Morant is spectacular. I mean, that's really the difference in this
That
series.
well, but that Minnesota gave up leads.
Sure,
that's
they
not,
did.
and that's
They
not
gave
a,
up leads.
That's not a slight to Ja Morant, by the way. That's not a slight because Ja Morant had to do what he did for it.
Yeah.
But they gave up leads, man, and it for me it speaks to Anthony Edwards ain't quite a closer yet.
Right.
Karl Anthony Towns ain't quite a closer yet. Those two guys who
The
you got to
coach
put it on.
still got some learning to do.
Yeah, young. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's those types of things that I think leave Minnesota eliminated and Minnesota not.
Yeah. Yeah. And Memphis not. Yeah,
I'm sorry, Memphis. I'm sorry.
but yeah, I just thought, but I agree with you with the leads because what was that, game 3? Yeah, game 3 where they blew the first 20-point lead and then they went up again by 26 in the second half. That was a heartbreaker. They back it up with a good performance in game 4, and then game 5 and game 6, the same stuff with the blown double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. And you talk about Anthony Edwards. The one glaring mistake in game 5 was trying to steal the ball from John Morant. When John Morant went to the cup for the layup to get the go-ahead score to win that game. He'll learn from that because you don't gamble there, especially if you're giving a guy a open lane to the cup like that. So,
Yeah.
so Memphis, they win in 6. They go on and they play the Warriors. They already had game 1, and the Warriors got game 1 on Sunday with Clay's go-ahead 3-pointer to win that.
Yep.
What's your thoughts about this series?
Give me the Warriors in 6. The thing, I think for the same I think that Memphis is going to fight. Obviously, John Morant is a motherfucking dog. I don't think we say it enough, and we say it all the time. John Morant is a dog. I don't think he's going to be enough when it all comes down to it. He gonna do all that spectacular shit, and then Steph just gonna bust a 3. Clay just gonna bust a 3. You know what I'm saying? Like they just poised for this moment a little more than Memphis is, and I think they gonna give them all the fight they got, and they just gonna start busting threes, and Memphis ain't gonna have an answer for it.
Yeah, I got the Warriors in this one too, except I got to go in 7 games. I just think, and just kind of going back to the Minnesota series, um, they started slow in most of those games in that series. And you're not going to be able to start slow against the Warriors and think you're going to come back from 20 down, come back from 10 down,
Yep,
because the
yep.
Warriors aren't going to
Because
be
they know how
giving
to
up leads
close.
like that. Right. They're not going to be giving leads up like that. So, but from what I saw from game one, Memphis came out with aggression, with energy. John Morant, I thought that was his best start in these playoffs up to this point. So that was a good sign. And they certainly had a chance to win game one. And obviously tonight they got to win game two. If they don't win at home, then I think this series goes different. I don't think it goes a distance, but I
Yeah.
expect that they'll win game two tonight.
I
But
think that I think not to cut you off. I think Golden State know that they expect to win this game, and they're going to come in with an extra energy, and they might get demoralized.
right, right. So,
They might get demoralized.
what about Dallas and Phoenix in this series? I got Phoenix in this one, and I'll be honest with you, I had it in five. I had Phoenix in five, and watching Game One the other night, it certainly looks like if those other folks for Dallas don't show up, and Luka's got to do all the the scoring and stuff. They're gonna be out of here in a sweep if them other guys don't show up. But I'm gonna give Dallas a game in this series, and Jalen Brunson doesn't look like Jalen Brunson from the first round.
Yeah, but it's only been one game. I'm not going to I'm not going to kill him for having a bad game, even though it's the playoffs. But especially because I don't think he's that dude. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he's that dude. I think he's having a good playoffs, but I don't think he's
Right,
that dude yet. Like he's kind of coming out of nowhere playoff wise.
right.
Um, with that
Contract
said,
year.
yeah. With that being said, he's definitely. I still definitely got the Suns in five. Luka's gonna get him one. That's just the way I feel. Luka's gonna get him one,
Yeah,
whether they give him the effort he need or not. He's gonna get them out of that stadium with a win, whether it be in Dallas or Phoenix. I don't know. Probably Dallas, but um, he's definitely gonna get him out, get him a win, get him a win. So I got Phoenix in five.
yeah, yeah. Um, so Booker came back, and
Yep.
you know, I thought he looked rusty, but he looked. I thought he looked okay. I thought he looked okay in game one.
But more than that, Trey, more
Mm-hmm.
than that, nobody on Dallas defensively can deal with Aiton in the paint.
Yeah, facts, facts.
He
I
just
mean,
he just picking and rolling and doing what he want.
yeah, and I think that's a big difference between this series and what they had to deal with in Utah. I mean, Rudy
Yeah,
Gobert is, he's one of the best defensive players, but he can't do much offensively. That's why it was so easy for Dallas to have to defend the perimeter and leave the paint open. They're not going to be able to
yeah,
do that with DeAndre Ayton.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, but it's definitely. But like I said, Luca definitely get him one.
I do want to give a shout out to CP3 for that Game 6 performance against the Pelicans where he went 14 for 14, field goal,
Yeah,
100%, field goal percentage, and basically, I mean, willed the team to a victory because the
yeah,
Pelicans were in that game. I mean, it wasn't like the Pelicans went away. They were in that game, and Chris Paul carried them to victory there. So shout out to him, and shout out to
yeah,
Willie Green too. Shout out to Coach Willie Green too. They look like they got something going into next year if they can get Zion healthy and back on the floor, combined with CJ and combined with Bi and the rest of that cast. They got something going.
yeah. I agree.
Sixers and Heat. So we got the news about Embiid not playing the first two games over the weekend, and I ain't gonna front. I thought this series was gonna be a lengthy series. Obviously, Embiid was gonna play. I mean, and once
Yeah.
that happened, it was just okay. This ain't gonna work. And everybody's calling for again the old James Harden, and we're not going to get that. I think the last
Yep.
series told you. I think the last few games in the regular season told everybody we're not going to get that James Harden. We're not going to see him
Yeah.
again. So,
Yeah.
give me the Miami Heat. Give me the Miami Heat in five. Because I think Embiid is going to come back for game three, and I think Embiid gets some one in Philly.
Okay. Um, I will. I will agree. I would agree. I was gonna say sweep.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll agree. I think it'll be to get you game three, and then that'll be it.
Yeah.
So Heat and fire.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think, and I thought in game one last night, I thought the Sixers gave a good effort, and they actually fought back before the half. They took a 1 point lead at the halftime break. They were down 14 around the first, second quarter. And then that third quarter just hit, and life just came at them so quick that before you know it, they was down by 19 points. So,
The guy that you paid to be the guy
mm-hmm.
had a 16-9 game.
Yeah. And 13 of that was in the first half.
Yeah.
Let's for context,
Yeah.
a chunk
Right.
of that was in the first half.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy, Trey. And I'm gonna keep bringing this narrative up because it's a conversation we have.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the Brooklyn Nets being swept right now,
Yeah.
I still feel like Brooklyn won that trade, bruh.
Well, I mean, it's gonna look like it now. Especially if the if the Sixers don't get out this series. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I said it. I said for now the Sixers will win the trade as long as they stay in the playoffs en route to a championship. If they don't get the championship this year, then that's gonna fall right back in the lap of Brooklyn. But we also need to see Ben Simmons play also, and that's
Yeah, I agree
right
with
now
that.
is a mystery right
I
now.
agree with that.
So,
I'm
but
sure he'll be fine, but yeah, but that's true.
yeah, yeah.
But that's true.
So Milwaukee and Boston. I think this is maybe next to Grizzlies Warriors probably the best series left.
Mm-hmm.
Real impressed by Milwaukee's win on Sunday. Um, I thought the Celtics didn't show up. I thought Jason Tatum with the 21 points just wasn't going to cut it. And now you got Marcus Smart out tonight for game two. So we're going to see how that transpires. I'm about to check the score in a minute to see where that, stands at. But, given no Chris Middleton and Grayson Allen has sort of kind of stepped his game up a little bit, Drew Holiday stepping up, Bobby Portis, and those guys, Connaughton off the bench, and the Greek Freak, while he didn't shoot very well in game one, messed around and got himself a triple double, man.
And he dunking on it like he's pushing people. Like, I'm sorry, the statement was made when he had Tatum in the box,
Mm-hmm.
and he just pushed him down, spent on him, and did what he wanted to do with him. That, I think, for me, that is the statement
Yeah.
of the series, and it's going to that's going to be the continuing narrative. Like,
Mm-hmm.
these cats is going these champions. They about the big brother of the Celtics, and that's just what it's going to be.
Right.
They going big brother this situation. It's really nothing you could do. Jason Tatum is going to be Jason Tatum. I think he'll still average 25 and up in the series.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Jaylen Brown's going to disappear. I think, and here's why I'm on Jaylen Brown.
Yep.
Because I notice a lot of times when we talk about the Celtics, we talk about Jason Tatum and we talk about Jaylen Brown. And this is no disrespect to Jaylen Brown. but he's a number two. Like he's a
Yeah,
number two guy. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying?
Hmm.
But I think a lot of people think like when they like he's up there with Jason Tatum. I think he kind of gets inserted in the conversation when he don't really need to be in that conversation when you're talking about the big dogs of the East.
Right.
Jason Tatum belongs in that conversation, but I think some people try to sneak Jaylen Brown in that conversation,
Yeah.
and he don't belong in that conversation. He's a number two guy. Like, and if you're talking about number twos, I mean, you take Chris Middleton over him. You know you take it's certain guys, certain number twos among the East that you take over Jaylen Brown.
Right.
In fact, he's probably at the bottom tier of number twos in the East.
Right.
So
Right.
you know I think that narrative is going to be on display in this series because I think Jaylen Brown's going to disappear in this series.
Well, couple things. Let me get to the Facebook live chat here. Shout out to the chat here. Mo Cheese was good. Reggie Lawrence, aka Dollars and Cents. Boston is up 83-66. End of the third quarter with Jaylen Brown right now.
You said 83-76?
83-66.
Okay. Oh, okay.
83-66. Jaylen Brown with 25 points up to date. Jason Tatum with 19. On the Milwaukee side, the Greek Freak, 23 points, only 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Brook Lopez.
He said only.
Brook Lopez. A big fat zero right now. Like you on the floor 22 minutes and you're not scoring. Like you at this point you're being useless. I don't know what's going on with him in this game.
I'm about to say check his rebounds though. I mean if he doing his thing, rebound.
5 rebounds right now. But it sounds to me like Boston's kind of hitting everything right now.
Away with it.
You know, yeah, that's what it looks like.
I would love to know what their shooting percentage. I'm about to say it seems like they're hitting shots on the outside.
Yeah,
that'd be my guess, obviously.
50%
yeah,
right now.
I ain't watching the game, but it would seem like they was hitting shots.
Right. I mean, Milwaukee's at 49% field goal percentage too. So
so they having a little derby.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. But Boston is shooting a lot more threes. They're 15 for 31. Milwaukee hasn't really been, and that's the issue. That's really the issue right here because they've only shot 12 3-pointers in the game through 3 quarters, and Brook Lopez has not taken a 3-point shot yet.
Yeah,
and that's part of his game. So
right, about to say for 2 or 3 by now.
Right. So there's that. Facebook live chat, Big Kev 303. I see you, man. Appreciate the love.
What up?
So all in all, to say, I still got the Bucks in this series. I'm gonna go 7 games for Milwaukee here.
I'll go 7. I'll go Bucks and 7 just because I don't feel like have we got a 7-game series yet?
You mean have we had a series go 7 yet?
Yeah,
no.
Go 7. Have we had one yet? Yeah, I didn't feel like we did. So I'll say 7 for that sake.
Okay. Yep. That's a bet. That's the bet. Quickly, man. And Reggie Lawrence said that Marcus Smart's out for the Celtics. I think I mentioned that earlier.
Happy birthday, Dwayne Haskins.
Is it really? Yeah. Okay.
Today's his birthday. Yeah.
Man. Happy birthday to the late great Dwayne Haskins. Yeah. Rest in peace, no doubt. Hey, just quickly, man. I always want to give black people in sports a shout out whenever I can when they're doing something great. When they're doing something good, man. And I know this isn't my team. It's it's your team, the Wizards. But I want to give a special shout out to Chris Miller, who does a lot of the Wizards pregame, postgame shows on the network in the area. He also did some pregame, postgame stuff for some Ravens games as well. I met Chris Miller years ago when me and Alex shopped on homie Alex. We went to a Wizards game. Sharif, shout out to Sharif, he hooked us up with some, not floor seats, but, in that little VIP area closer to the basket. And we went one evening. I think it was a weekday. It was a weekday game. And we're sitting there and it's crazy. Me and Alex, we watched Common walk past us. We watched a couple other celebrities, go by. And then I saw Chris Miller posted maybe a few rows behind us. And I was like, oh, I know that cat. It's on TV doing Ravens pregame, postgame, Wizards, and all that stuff. So, it was the end of the game. And we're leaving the arena. We're walking up the steps. And just as I walked past him and I said, hey, it's good to finally meet you, Chris. I addressed him by his name and shook his hand, and he said, hey, thanks a lot, happy holidays to you and your family, be safe. It was around the holidays, it was around Christmas and stuff. So I thought that was a pretty good moment, even though I didn't have all this time to really start a conversation with him or whatnot.
Right.
But it was cool to shake his hand, address him by name, and it was cool to get that greeting back from him. But he is now the new play-by-play person for all the Wizards games on NBC Sports Washington. So he just it was announced last week that he got that gig. So I just want to send a shout out to him. And it's great to see black people get jobs like that. That's a lead play-by-play role right there, even if it's just for one franchise. That's still big.
Yeah, congrats to Chris Miller, for
sure. No doubt. If you got nothing else, man, kids is howling in the background. Got to see what's going on with them.
I'm good, bro.
No doubt. Shout out to everybody in the chat, in the Facebook Live joint. Shout out to all of our YouTube viewers, also to all of our people that follow us on social media. Just continue to follow us there. Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2. You can follow us on the gram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. Also on the Facebook page, click the like button. You'll get these notifications of these Facebook Live notices. Also on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And also, if you got any questions, comments about the show, you can hit us up on the email barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com. I see your boy here, Dollars and Cents. He says, too bad Tomlin couldn't give a black quarterback a job, LOL. You know that man is.
Hey, rest in peace to Wayne Haskins.
Oh man. But when you say that though, Maestro, Tomlin gave a black man quarterback position. He didn't necessarily start, but he was on the roster. So rest in peace to Dwayne Haskins again. And he's got the smiley face. This dude is hilarious with the Tomlin hate. And look, I'm a Ravens fan, so I hate anything Steelers. But black man coaching the league, can't hate on that. All right, y'all. That's it for the show. Maestro, my brother. I'll holler at you next week. Folks out there, y'all be safe in them streets. We'll be back with another episode. Peace, one love.
Yeah.
Recording stopped.